Justice D.Y. Chandrachud is set to take oath as the 50th Chief Justice of India in a short while from now. President Draupadi Murmu will administer the oath of office to him at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. He'll be serving as the CJI for the next 2 years till November 10th, 2024.
Justice Chandrachud is assuming office as the 50th Chief Justice of India today, with one of the longest tenures of recent Chief Justices of over 2 years. 63-year-old Justice D.Y. Chandrachud is the son of India's 16th Chief Justice, Justice Y.B. Chandrachud, who served for the longest tenure of 7 years.
Justice Chandrachud got his bachelor's degree in law from Delhi University and earned his postgraduate degree and doctorate from Harvard University. Justice Chandrachud served as Additional Solicitor General of India between 1998 and 2000. He was appointed a judge of the Bombay High Court in 2000 and was elevated to the Supreme Court in 2016. In a speech 2 months ago, Justice Chandrachud had said justice should not be limited to the privileged.
In a nation as vast as ours, where graded inequality still persists, justice ought not to be limited to the socio-economically privileged sections of our society.
He also authored some of India's most progressive and landmark judgments while on the Supreme Court bench. Justice Chandrachud in fact overturned his father's judgment in the right to privacy case heard by a 9-judge constitution bench of the Supreme Court in 2017 and said right to privacy and dignity is an intrinsic part of the right to life. On abortion rights, a 3-judge bench headed by Justice Chandrachud ruled that every woman, irrespective of her marital status.
All right, pictures now coming in live from Rashtrapati Bhavan, where the oath-taking ceremony is just about to start. The President will arrive shortly. She has in fact arrived there in the Rashtrapati Bhavan, and in moments from now, the oath-taking ceremony of India's 50th Chief Justice of the country, D.Y. Chandrachud, is about to begin. Let's listen in.
माननीय राष्ट्रपति महोदय, आपकी अनुमति हो तो समारोह का शुभारंभ किया जाए। भारत के मुख्य न्यायमूर्ति डॉक्टर धनंजय यशवंत चंद्रचूड़।
I, Dhananjaya Yashwant Chandrachud,
having been appointed Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of India,
having been appointed as Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of India,
do swear in the name of God that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established,
that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India,
that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India,
that I will duly and faithfully and to the best of my ability, knowledge and judgment,
that I will duly and faithfully and to the best of my ability, knowledge and judgment
perform the duties of my office without fear and favor, affection or ill will,
perform the duties of my office without fear or favor, affection or ill will,
and that I will uphold the Constitution and the laws.
and that I will uphold the Constitution and the laws.
महोदय।
Justice CJI Chandrachud has taken oath as the 50th Chief Justice of India. President Draupadi Murmu administered the oath of office to him at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. These are live pictures coming in from the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Justice CJI Chandrachud will serve as the CJI for the next 2 years till the 10th of November 2024. He succeeds UU Lalit, who had recommended him as a successor. A law graduate from Delhi University, Justice Chandrachud went on to obtain his LLM degree and a Doctor of Judicial Science from the Harvard Law School. He practiced law at the Supreme Court and the Bombay High Court and was designated a senior advocate by the Bombay High Court in June of 1998. He served as the Additional Solicitor General from 98 until he was appointed as the judge of the Bombay High Court in March 2000. He was also the director of the Maharashtra Judicial Academy. Justice Chandrachud took over as the Chief Justice of Allahabad High Court in 2013 and was appointed a judge of the Supreme Court in 2016. He has been part of several constitutional benches and landmark verdicts of the top court, including on matters relating to Ayodhya land dispute and the right to privacy, as well as the issue of adultery. Let me go across to Arvind for more details. Arvind, the Chief Justice now, Justice Chandrachud, will be at the helm of affairs for the next 2 years. What are his priorities going to be? Has he sketched out any view for us on that count?
Maha, the 63-year-old Justice D.Y. Chandrachud has been sworn in as the 50th Chief Justice of India, and if you could see the recent past, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud will be having one of the longest tenure as the Chief Justice of India. He'll be in the office as Chief Justice of India at least till 10th November 2024. That's almost 2 years. So that's a pretty long tenure for Justice D.Y. Chandrachud as Chief Justice of India. What is also important to see in this context is that as on date there are only 28 judges in Supreme Court, because the first biggest challenge of Justice D.Y. Chandrachud as Chief Justice of India is to fill up all these vacancies. Almost just 20 out of 34 strength in the Supreme Court. There are hardly 28 judges as on date, and in the next year, if you could see the next first half of the year, almost 5 to 6 judges are also up for retirement. So in that particular case, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud has to negotiate with the government, and he has to fill all this almost 10 vacancies by March or by April of next year. So that will be the biggest challenge for Justice D.Y. Chandrachud as the Chief Justice of India. The vacancies are not just in Supreme Court but also across the High Courts. In fact, one of the recent recommendations by the collegium was to transfer Justice Muralidhar, the current Chief Justice of India of current Chief Justice of Orissa High Court, to Madras High Court as Chief Justice, but the central government has not yet cleared that particular proposal. So there are several such proposals pending with the central government. So these issues will be the topmost priority of Justice D.Y. Chandrachud the moment he takes office, because he has to fill up all these vacancies, because there are only 28 judges in Supreme Court as on date. That first thing. And second thing is the huge pendency of the cases in Supreme Court. That's something Justice U.U. Lalit, Chief Justice of India, he initiated this thing. He wanted all those matters that are filed to be taken up in the coming weeks. Within the 1 week, he wanted all those matters, the new fresh matters, to be taken up for listing or taken up for hearing. So maybe that will be the second priority of Justice D.Y. Chandrachud in order to reduce the huge pendency of cases, not just in Supreme Court but also in High Courts, but also in several lower courts across the country. And also a subject that is very close to the heart of Justice D.Y. Chandrachud is the E-Committee, because he was heading the E-Committee of Supreme Court, and during his tenure only several new technologies were brought in during the functioning of the Supreme Court. In fact, his one of his foremost project during his member as an E-Committee was to bring in the paperless court system. Though that is being implemented in few courts in Delhi and also few courts in High Courts in Orissa, but that will be something that D.Y. Chandrachud will be taking it forward across the country. The paperless system is something that the subject is very close to his heart. So in the coming days, we can see that particular project also getting full-fledged across the country.
Arvind, talking particularly about the CJI's work in the past, we know that he's known for the kind of dissent notes sometimes that he's put across. Take us through some of the highlights in the recent past of the benches he was on and some of the judgments delivered by him.
Maha, if you could see the judgment, the landmark judgments that were given by Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, the first judgment would be the right to privacy, because right to privacy that was heard by 9-judge bench in the Puttaswamy case relating to the Aadhaar, in which he overturned his own father's judgment, wherein he held that right to privacy is a fundamental right. That's the one of the landmark judgments by Justice D.Y. Chandrachud that will be cited in the coming years also, because that for the first very time, Supreme Court confirmed that right to privacy as a fundamental right. That's something, a big landmark judgment from Justice D.Y. Chandrachud. And not just that, if you could see the recent judgment that was given by him in the case of abortion, wherein he has made it very clear that irrespective of the marital state of women, all women are eligible for abortion, the legal, rightful abortion. That's something, another landmark, a historic judgment authored by Justice D.Y. Chandrachud. And not just that, even if you could see the decriminalization of Section 377, again, another judgment by Justice D.Y. Chandrachud. So if you could see all these cases, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud has always struck this particular note that the individual right should be the paramount when it comes to the judicial system. So he has always stood for the individual right whenever it is as per the Constitution of India, whenever it is well within the limits of the Constitution. He has rose to the occasion. He has upheld those rights for individuals and also for the system. That's something that we have seen in almost all the judgments by Justice Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, if you could take the case of Mohammed Zubair to several, even journalist Arnab Goswami also, even that he stood up for the rights of the individuals there also.
And one final question to you, Arvind. This is with regards to what has been seen as some sort of a difference of opinion on how judges are appointed by brother judges themselves. We'd heard recently a remark from the law minister as well. Do you think there is any possibility of the two sides being on some sort of a war path over that issue that has existed for some time now?
Yeah, the bone of contention between the centre and also the Supreme Court especially is this collegium system, because centre, this very government brought in this NJAC for appointment of judges, but that was struck down by the Supreme Court itself in a constitution bench, by a constitution bench judgment. So that is still the bone of contention between the centre and also the Supreme Court, and several times centre government, several law ministers during this course of time since 2014 have spoken about this collegium systems, wherein they have said that this is very opaque. It has to be transformed. It has to be like even this government should be made as a stakeholder in appointing judges from lower judiciary till the Supreme Court. That seems to be the stand of centre government in power today. But the Supreme Court has also acknowledged that there are several drawbacks. There are several issues that needs to be sorted out in the collegium system. But collegium system has always been protected by the Supreme Court, by the almost all the Chief Justices of India throughout this particular period. So it is likely that the Supreme Court under Chief Justice Chandrachud will also be defending the collegium system. But Justice Chandrachud has always made it very clear that every system needs to be improved. It needs to be evolving in the course of time, and that's why he will also be striking that point also with the government. But with Justice Chandrachud, who's always for dialogue, who's always for talks between both the parties, we can expect that he would be negotiating with the government in order to clear all these appointments. But this particular bone of contention will always remain, because the government is taking a position that the centre should be part of this exercise in appointing judges. But judges, the Supreme Court has always made it very clear that in order to ensure that judiciary function as an independent body, they want to keep the government out of this particular process.
All right, Arvind, May, thanks for joining us with those details as the new CJI, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, takes over as the 50th Chief Justice of the country. With that, we're taking a very quick break. News and updates will continue. Stay with us.